Every year, Canadian Sikhs do something outstanding, either in their field of work or in their communities, for which their community ought to recognize them. This recognition serves to create awareness and encourage youth and children that their efforts too will one day be recognized for their achievements when they represent the Sikh faith proudly. Over the past year, a number of Canadian Sikhs have strived and thrived, achieving heights and making impacts that are both notable and meaningful. Last year, we respected and recognized MP Tim Uppal for becoming the first turbaned Sikh to serve as a minister in the federal cabinet. This year, the World Sikh Organization of Canada would especially like to recognize Martin Singh, who ran proudly for the leadership of the New Democratic Party. Martin Singh not only repeatedly showed his resourcefulness and thoughtfulness in discussing Canada's issues, but he never once backed away from his faith. He represented Sikhs both in Canada and around the world in the most positive of lights. So please join us as we recognize Martin Singh for his contribution to the Sikh image and to Canadian politics, and for serving as a true role model for Sikh youth around the world to dream big and to always persevere.
Turn my cell phone off before I speak, excuse me. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute delight to be here and to have this opportunity to speak with all of you. Thank you to the executive of the WSO and the WSO organization generally for providing me with this opportunity to speak. Just as a bit of a backgrounder, for those of you who don't know me, I didn't start off life as Martin Singh. I started off life as Martin Hill, young man born and raised in rural Nova Scotia in the village called Muscatabat Harbour on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia, where my family has resided for about 230 years since they originally came from their homeland in Germany. And how shall I put it, through a unique set of personal experiences and also being tinged with a bit of a libertarian attitude that runs through the communities of the Eastern Shore, I decided to follow what I felt was my own path at that time, because there were no other Sikh people in my community, and pick up the gauntlet of the Khalsa, as it were. But talking directly about the journey that I was on over the past year, which was the leadership campaign, how does that happen? How does a young man from a village, a rural village in Nova Scotia, get approached by people to become a candidate for the leadership of the Federal New Democratic Party of Canada? And to give you a bit of a backgrounder on that, I joined the New Democratic Party about 15 years ago, and from that time till this, I've always advocated for particular things within the party, not the least of which the need to engage the business community and to present ourselves as sound stewards of the economy. And I believe that the New Democratic Party generally in Canada has been successful in this regard, but there were people within the party who felt that more needed to be done on a federal level, and they felt that I would be a good standard bearer for that particular message. And so they came around me and they said, Martin, would you be interested in making the sacrifice, in terms of family time and time away from those other things that are important in your life, to undertake this particular challenge? And I said, if you guys are willing to come around me as a team to move these ideas and move this leadership race forward, because we will be running to win, then I'd be willing to do so. What I do is, for those places in Canada that don't know the Sikh community as well as some others, we would try to undertake a project to demystify the Sikh community for those Canadians. And it was an interesting thing when the team came together, because, I know this, but I just share it with you now because you may not be aware. There was only one Sikh person on the national campaign team, and that was me. But yet there was an understanding that something like this was very important. Why? Well, because we know that within our own faith, but also from the faith histories of others, most notably Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, that if you are successful in raising the rights and opportunities of one minority and one group, then by extension you automatically raise the rights and opportunities of Canadians generally. And that was taken from a speech that moved forward on this message. But at the same time, we had to ask the question, well, is this something that is worthwhile, or are we just a bunch of activists searching for a cause? And this question is a legitimate question. I mean, Sikh people have been here in Canada for over 100 years. We have had our successes. As Prem Singh Uncle rightly said, we've been successful, and the WSO played a large part in making sure that the RCMP is able to have their Sikh members wear the turban if they so choose. Similarly, now there are some courts in this country whereby you're allowed to wear your kirpan. But then also there are the challenges. And challenges have had their progress also. On a personal level, when I first joined the armed forces and I was issued my dog tags, for those of you who are unfamiliar with dog tags, are the two little because you've met with an unfortunate accident while in the line of service. And on those dog tags you have your personal information, not the least of which your religion. And when I first joined the armed forces back in the early 1990s, my religion was listed as other. Since that time, when I re-enlisted in the armed forces back in, but early on in the campaign, I came to learn that there are things that have to be done. And the example that I'll share with you is that I went and I spoke with the Nova Scotia NDP Provincial Caucus. And I gave my speech, my stump speech, as I do, as I did at a number of the events in the campaign. And the very first question that I was asked by one of the elected MLAs was the following: Martin, do you think Canada is ready for a Muslim prime minister? So that spoke to both me and the national team members that were there, that said that, in fact, there is a cause that we should be working on, and that we should be working to, assist Canadians and bringing all of us together under a common umbrella of understanding and equality. So, throughout the campaign, I'd like to think that we are successful in accomplishing the goal of demystifying the Sikh community, and by extension, improving the rights and opportunities of Canadians as a whole. But that will be for others to judge. What I can say with confidence is that the work of organizations like the World Sikh Organization and our brother and sister human rights organizations and activists is essential to improving society as a whole. Take heart in the fact that the work that you do not only benefits those immediately involved, but rather reaches beyond the boundaries of your organization and beyond the boundaries of the various communities to which you are working for directly to benefit all Canadians. In politics, as it is in life, it can be difficult to get a single win. But with the work that you perform, everybody wins. Thank you again for having me. It's been an honor and a pleasure to speak with you this evening. May God bless you, your friends, and your family. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
At this time, I'd like to call upon President Prem Singh Vinning, Vice President Gurpreet Singh Ball, as well as Ontario Vice President Ranjit Singh Dule, just to show Martin Singh our appreciation.